Immanuel, God with us forever. We no longer come in and go out.
Yes.
You remain with us forever.
Cancer affecting, it's just like, it's funny to listen to all you children say, like, you had this hope. And I think what the enemy tries to do is when you're going through something where I felt like when somebody gave me the cancer diagnosis, it was like it got chose for me instead of like, boom, getting hit by a Mack truck and you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like somebody was choosing it for me. I didn't get that choice to like how I wanted to go. And so it felt very unfair. And I'm listening to all you guys and realizing that, there's the secret times that people are praying that we don't know about it. And I am like one of those, I love to secretly pray for people. It was a whole lot easier than being bold and going out and laying hands on people and saying, hey, can I lay my hands on you? Can I pray for you? Mm-hmm. But you realize, there's the quiet moments where your children are praying for you and you're praying that they don't see you the way that you are. And because I know, as you being my children, that I don't ever want you guys to, moms do it all. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're exhausted and we can have a cold and we're still running around taking care of you guys. Not when you're 20, you can take care of your own cold now. Yeah. So, but it's hard as a parent to let you know how bad it is because I don't want to, you don't want to hurt your kids. You don't want them to know, that's our secret that we go through. But just to know that you guys were praying, just to know that you guys were thinking of us. I know you would text me and I'm like, I'm thinking about you. I'm not really, Yeah. But it's like you're 20. You are going to school. You are, starting out your life. And your dad and I talk about you all the time. And I'm going to cry. Because you are so smart. And we're very proud of you. Even though sometimes you might not think it. Because I think when you have children, each one of them are different and they all have their different gifts and abilities. And I think sometimes you are so more worried about the disappointment and you don't realize how much you're not a disappointment,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I know. That's the weird thing is like when you talk about that I know we weren't around, and I'd like to think we all still would have as much faith as we did when we weren't here, but I know we weren't seeing all the bad and we weren't seeing it. And like Reggie and I, we were praying, but it was really great to have Reggie not only as my special person, but his grandma just finished up her chemo about the time you got diagnosed, and his grandpa again just got diagnosed with really bad cancer for him. So I think it was really nice in terrible circumstances, but it was really great to have Reggie, and we could pray together for everybody at the same time, and we could, he was really my rock through that. And I remember him being like, how's Breanne? Like, and I'm like, she's okay. Like, and it was the weirdest thing to be like, everybody was like, how is she? Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's just so weird to say, and I know we weren't always here for all the bad, but I know it was hard, not to take away from that. Like, I know it was so hard, but I remember just being like, I had no doubt it was going to be okay. And it was the weirdest thing, like, because I remember hearing it and I was like, no. Mm-hmm. Like, and I remember the first person I called was Reggie, and I was like, what do you even do with this? Like, I was like, I can't do anything about it. And that was the hardest part and I think everybody probably experienced that. Like, I cannot do anything. And he's like, he really, helped me through that. And I just remember being like, well, we have God, like, it'll be fine. Like, and people are like, well, lots of people have God and lots of people things. And I think people are meant it to be like, oh, don't get your hopes up. Like, don't, like, you can't be blind about it because, you like, they're like, well, lots of people have God and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but it'll be fine. Like, I know it's going to be fine. And I didn't even feel like denial. It wasn't like, oh yeah, no, it'll be fine, it's fine, and I was denying it. Like, I had the peace about it. Like, I'd pray about it, and I knew it was hard, but I was like, you know what? Like, it is going to be fine. And I think that was a weird thing for Reggie experiencing that. He's like, yeah, but how is she doing? Like, you have to go visit. And I was like, yeah, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's really hard for people to understand, especially people who don't believe what you believe. Mm-hmm. It's really hard for people to hear, we have God, it'll be fine. Like, I've prayed about it. Like, we've all prayed about it. Like, we're all praying, like, it'll be okay. And I think the biggest thing for me is watching other people who don't have God be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's been a crazy thing terrible, of course, like the whole thing, and it's been so hard, but it's been really cool to be able to tell people, like, you know, we prayed about it as a family, and like it's okay now, and people are like, what, you know? So
it's funny hearing
crazy.
you guys all come together, because your dad said the exact same thing. It's like such a confirmation for me, because your dad's like, it's gonna be okay. And then when I asked Christian the other day, he's like, it's gonna, like, I always knew it was gonna be okay. Like, everybody, like, hearing you guys all together, like, we haven't talked about it individually, but just hearing about that, like, makes you realize that God is bigger than any of us can ever imagine, and that we all had the same, we had the Holy Spirit telling us the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's cool that we all got that with, and then we can come together now and share and everything, but I think it's so cool that we all got that, and we were all like, and of course it was really hard, and everybody had their own struggles, and everybody, of course, we still worried and everything, but I think it's, like you said, it's really cool to hear now, like, I was like, oh, but I think it's so crazy the amount of, like, prayer that was going on, and just, I think it really shows, like, how we are as a family unit, and that's, you know, the kind of family I want to be in, for sure, you know?
Yeah.
But
this is our crazy family, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, none of us are the same. We're all different, and I think, you know, the Bible says that every joint supplies. Like, I couldn't do it without the elbow. I couldn't do it without the knee. I couldn't do it without, you know, and, you know, some of you guys were the elbow I needed. Some of you guys were my heart that I needed. Some of you guys were my, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just, you know, there was times when people would just text me where I'm like, Lord, I just need somebody to say something today. And you will not believe that either you would text, or Christian would text, or Elizabeth would text. And I just remember, like, Tom's never going to say, not say never, but he might never tell me I love you in person, but he would always tell me I love you on a text. And I remember thinking, I'd give it to Chris, and I'm like, he loves me. He really loves me. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, boys aren't super emotional by, you know, what do you call it, like, nature.
Yeah.
But just that I know that I have a family that is bonded, and we even though I always tell you this, that even though your dad chose me, you guys didn't, but you chose me. Does that make sense? Like, you began to chose me. It might not have been easy in the beginning, but you guys chose me and with it. And it's like, you know, it's neat to have you and Tom and Elizabeth and Reggie, just that we love each other. Like, there's nothing that we can't go through.
I know, and that's the thing, is we really, like, when people are like, oh, like, what if? And I'm like, I don't know, Breanne holds us all together. Like, there's no what if. Like, it will be fine. Like, I don't even know where I'd be without you, like, at all. And I'm like, and people are like, well, you know, even if people are like, well, she's not your mom. And I'm like, well, no, like, not biologically. But I was like, she is has such a huge part of my heart. And you're like, I don't know what we do without you. But I don't know. And that's the thing, is I was like, people are like, well, you don't go visit. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And it was really hard for me, because I was a long ways away, and I, you know, and I'm terrible about visiting anyways.
Well, and then that COVID hit, and it was like, well,
so I was like,
a lot of people didn't want to be around me anyways, just to not get me sick.
Right. So I was like, well, I live in the city with a lot of people. Like, I can't go visit. But I remember thinking one day, I was like, well, I can't be there, but I'm going to be there in prayer, and I'm going to pray, and like, that's what I can do right now. So I think it's just really neat how our whole family just came together. We were all praying, and like on our own, and then together sometimes, and I think it's just really great.
Yeah, we are bared strong.
Bared strong. I like that.
So,
yeah.
but I'm happy you're in my life again. Like,
Me too.
all of our children are so different, and I wouldn't want you to be all the same, because you guys challenge me, and you challenge your dad in different ways. And when we sit late at night, we talk about you guys, and when we say, none of you guys are alcoholics, none of you guys are druggies, right? I mean, we're so blessed. I mean, it's not that you're perfect. It's not about being perfect. I will let you down. You will let me down. Like, it's just as humans, we're gonna do that.
Right.
But I'm just so happy that you all are different, and that you have something to bring to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
You guys all have something, and we love you. Some people say, like, they love their children differently, or this and that. It's like, I don't know if it's love you differently, but I love the different things about you guys. Like, my heart is there for all of you. There's nothing you couldn't get me to do for you. Nothing, you know?
Interesting. No, just oh,
but,
for sure.
But I'm good. You know, you're doing good. You really are.
So are you.
Thanks. I love you.
I love you too.
All right.
Well, we don't have to find out for a really
No, we
long
don't.
time.
No. I have 4 kids now. One of you guys are going to have 6 kids.
We will.
My odds went up.
Yeah. We'll be here. I would never.